Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Can somebody please start to read?
Ratna, you would like to read?
Okay. Okay, I will. The Lord then pointed out that there is no limit to the Shaktya Avatara, but that some can be mentioned as examples. The Shaktya incarnations are two kinds, direct and indirect. When the Lord himself comes, he is called a Shakshat or direct. Sakshat Vesha Avatara, and when the empowers a living entity to represent him, that living entity is called an indirect or Avesha incarnation. Examples of indirect avatars are four. Example of indirect avatars are four karmas: Narada, Prathu, and Parsurama. These are actually living entities who are given some specific power by the Supreme Personality, who is considered the full representation of devotional service.
Haribol, yeah, when a specific opulence of the Supreme Lord.
Okay. When a specific opulence of a Supreme Lord is invested in specific entities, they are called Avesha Avatara. The four Kumaras represent the Supreme Lord's opulence of knowledge. Narada represents devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Devotional service is also represented by Lord Chaitanya, who is considered the full representation of devotional service.
In Brahma, the opulence of created power is invested.
Yeah, and King Prathu is invested with the power for the maintaining the living entities. Similarly, the Parsurama, the power of killing evil elements, in invested. As for Vibhuti or special favor of Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says that a living entity who is especially powerful or beautiful should be known to be especially favored by Supreme Lord.
So Lord Chaitanya is continuing to speak about the incarnations of Krishna. Shakti-Avesh Avatar, he's saying there's so many, too many of them. Shakti-Avesh Avatar could be two kinds. One is the Lord himself, Vishnu Tattva, or Jiva Tattva. That's what is direct and indirect. Direct means they are the Sakshat. Okay, it's himself or his expansion, or when he's empowering a jiva, then that's an indirect avesha. So then indirect avatar, what examples are given?
For indirect?
Yeah.
For Kumaras, Narad, Prithu, and Parshurama.
Yeah, thank you. And they are like empowered with different things, right? For example, the Kumaras are representing
The Supreme Lord's opulence and knowledge.
yeah, knowledge. Yeah. Narad is representing
Devotional service to the Supreme Lord.
Yeah. Thank you. And then, of course, Prabhupada is mentioning that devotional service is also represented by Lord Chaitanya. And then, anyway, Prithu Maharaj is given the power for
Maintaining the
entities.
entities.
yeah, and Brahma has got the power for
Opulence,
Creative power.
yeah,
invested,
and
It's
Parsuram
okay.
has the power for
killing
Killing evil
evil
yeah.
elements.
elements.
So Parshuram is also a Shakti Avesha avatar. He's a living entity which is given powers by the Supreme Lord. Then what Prabhupada is mentioning is Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 10 that all beautiful and powerful things that we see, we should understand that this is the mercy of Krishna. You know, he gives so much of his vibhutis, that of the beast and the lion, of the mountains and of the immovable and Mount Meru, Himalayas, like that, you know, all the great things. So all great things represent Krishna's power, Krishna's beauty. We see someone is very intelligent. We should understand, oh, this person has received Krishna's mercy. He has so much intelligence, he or she. Or someone very beautiful. Oh, um, she has been given this beauty by Krishna, especially favored by Krishna.
Right.
Now,
So
how
one
do you say that?
question. Yeah,
Yeah.
one question. So you say the Shaktavesh avatar, they are Jeev Tattva or no? Jeev Tattva, right?
Yeah, two types. Shakti-Avesh avatar are two types. One can be Vishnu Tattva and one can be Jiva Tattva.
Okay. The direct ones are Vishnu Tattva.
Yeah.
I'm a bit confused now.
Shakti-Avesh are two kind.
Two kinds. Okay.
Shakti-Avesh avatar are two kind. One is when Krishna himself or the Vishnu Tattva is coming to do a specific activity, or another, he is empowering a particular jiva to do a particular task.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So two kinds.
Okay.
Sometimes he himself will come to do a particular task, or sometimes he will empower a living entity to do a particular task.
Okay. So like Narad and all, they have been empowered.
Jivatmas. Yeah.
Jivatma. Okay.
Yeah. Jivatma.
Right. Oh.
So we can see Brahma, his children. Brahma is powerful. Brahma, then four Kumaras are his sons. Narad is his son. No? Vyasa, yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Examples of direct or Sakshat Shaktivesha avatars are the Shesa incarnation and Ananta incarnation. In Ananta, the power for sustaining all the planets is invested, and the Sesha incarnation is invested with the power for serving the Supreme Lord.
So
After
Sneha, does that get better?
Yeah. Now it's Right.
Shesha and Ananta, they are
Direct.
the Shakti-Vesh.
Okay.
Ananta, power for sustaining the planet. Shesha is serving the Lord.
the Supreme Lord. Yes. After describing the Sakshat Shaktavesha incarnations, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to speak about the age of Supreme Lord. He said that Supreme Lord Krishna is always like a 16-year-old boy, and when he desired to descend to his universe, he first sends his father and mother, who are his devotees, and then he himself appears. All his activities, beginning with the killing of Putna demon, are displayed the innumerable universes, and there is no limit to them. Indeed, at every moment, at every second, his manifestations and various pastimes are seen in different universes. That Brahmadas. Thus, his activities are just like the waves of Ganga's river. Just as there is no limit to the flowing of the waves of Gangas, there is no uh, cessations of various features of Lord Krishna. Pastimes in different universes. From childhood, he displays many pastimes and ultimately he exhibits the rasa dance.
Okay, so what is Krishna's age in the spiritual world? What's his
16 years.
16.
16? Yeah, does he come alone? Whenever
No.
Krishna comes, does he come?
No, first he
No.
sent his devotees as his mother and
Devotees.
father.
Associates, right?
Yeah. And Krishna, he does his pastimes only on this earth?
No.
No, he
No.
does in other planets also.
Yeah. At every moment, somewhere or the other, right now, he is being bound by Mother Yashoda as Damodar. Somewhere he is killing Putna Devan. That's why they're eternal, no? They're always happening. They're always happening. It's unimaginable for us, inconceivable for us. But that is Krishna's inconceivable potency. They're just like the waves of river Ganges. There's no limit to flowing of waves of Ganges. There is no cessation of Lord Krishna's pastimes in different universes. Okay.
It is said that all the pastimes of Krishna are eternal, and this is confirmed in every scripture. Generally, people cannot understand how Krishna performs his pastimes. But Lord Chaitanya clarified this is by comparing the performance of his pastimes to the orbit of the sun. According to Vedic astrological calculations, the 24 hours of a day are divided into 60 dandas. The days are again divided into 3,600 polars. The sun disk can be perceived crossing the sky in steps of 60 palas each, and then that time constitutes a danda. 8 dandas make one prahara, and the sun rises the sets within 4 praharas. Similarly, 4 praharas constitute one night, and after that sun rises, and just as sun can be seen in movement through 3,600 palas. All the pastimes of Krishna can be seen in any of the universe.
So then here, Srila Prabhupada is explaining to us that that the pastimes are eternal. Lord Chaitanya is saying Krishna's pastimes are eternal. And of course, this is like trying to understand that how the sun is moving, how the sun is moving like that, Krishna's pastimes are also eternal. So this is the scientific way, the Vedic way of calculating the movement of the sun. So sun can be seen movement through 3,600 palas. All the pastimes of Krishna can be seen in any of the universes. So like when the sun sets, we think the sun is not here anymore. No, but the sun is there rising in the other part of the world. So Krishna, because we can't see his pastimes on the earth, we think, oh, right now there is no pastimes happening. No, but it's happening in some other universe right now, and some other planet, in some other universe.
Lord Krishna remains in this universe for only 125 years, but all the pastimes of that period are exhibited in each and every universe. These pastimes include his appearance, the activities of his boyhood and youth, and his later pastimes, including those at Dwarika. Since all these pastimes are present in one or another of the myriad universe. At any given times, they are called eternal, just as sun is eternally existing, although we see it rise and set, appear and disappear according to our position on the earth. So Krishna's pastimes are eternally going on, although we can see them in his particular universe only at certain interval. As stated earlier, Krishna's abode is a supreme planet known as Gokula Vrindavan, and by his will, this Gokula Vrindavan is manifested in this universe and in other universes as well. Like Krishna's name, fame, and everything else directly connected to him, Gokula Vrindavan is absolute and therefore equal to him.
So can somebody say what is being said in this paragraph about Krishna's pastimes?
Yeah, Krishna's pastimes are always there in all the universe. Like it could be like now, here, and then another time. Means it's happening in another universe, right?
Yeah. And to explain this point, what example is given? Example of the sun.
Example of sun.
Yeah. That the sun is rising and then the sun sets, but the sun is actually rising in another part.
Another part, yeah.
Yeah. So similarly, Krishna's pastimes here we can't see anymore, but they're happening in another. And what is Krishna's planet known as?
Golok Vrindavan.
Golok Vrindavan. So this Golok Vrindavan manifests wherever Krishna plays his pastimes. Wherever Krishna is, that's where Vrindavan is. And what is said that Krishna's name, fame, everything else directly connected to him is absolute. Golok Vrindavan is also absolute. It's the spiritual nature.
Thus, the Lord is always in his supreme abode, Gokula Vrindavan, and by his supreme will, his activities there are also manifested at particular places in innumerable universe, and whenever and wherever Krishna appears, he displays his six opulences.
So wherever Krishna comes, that's Golok Vrindavan. Because his abode comes with him. His devotees come with him. Yeah, like Prabhupada would, the pure devotees also always in Vrindavan. When the devotees were taking Prabhupada through New York City and they were saying, apologizing to Prabhupada, oh, sorry, Prabhupada, this is so dirty here. He said, I don't see all this, I'm in Vrindavan. So the pure devotee is also always in Vrindavan because he's always with Krishna, he's always serving Krishna. It's all of the absolute nature, spiritual world.
Chapter 9, the opulences of Krishna. Since Lord Chaitanya is especially merciful to innocent, unsophisticated persons, his name is also Patita Pavana, the deliverer of most fallen conditioned souls. Although a conditioned soul may be fallen to the lowest position, such a loyally state will not prevent him from advancing in spiritual science, provided he is innocent. Sanatana Gosvāmī was considered fallen in society because he was in service of the Muslim government and had thus been excommunicated from Brahminical society. But because he was a sincere soul, Lord Chaitanya soul, very trained. Can you blue? Okay, yes, Lord Chaitanya showed him a special favor by granting him a wealth of spiritual information.
So Lord Chaitanya, what's he called?
He
Patita
is like
Pavan.
Patita Pavan. Yeah.
Patita Pavan. Why? Because he is giving mercy to the fallen souls. We
Fallen
have no qualification at all. But Lord Chaitanya, he is giving us this mercy openly. He knows everyone is fallen. So he's called the deliverer of the most fallen souls. That's why he's called Patita Pavan. So provided he's innocent, Srila Prabhupada is saying that we may be very, very fallen, but at least some sincerity should be there. On that we want to kill Krishna, kind of. So Sanatana Goswami, he's taking our position, like how Arjuna, he took our position on the battlefield. And Krishna gave him the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita. Here Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, they are taking our position so that we can learn these instructions. Sanatana Goswami is actually pure devotee of the Lord, pure devotee. But he's taking our position and he's asking these questions. Who am I? Why am I suffering? Who's God? And so Lord Chaitanya is explaining to him everything. Okay.
The Lord next explained to Sanatana Goswami how the different spiritual planets are situated in the spiritual sky. The spiritual planets are also known as Vaikuntha planets. The planets of the material creation have a limited length and breadth. But as far as the Vaikuntha planets are concerned, because they are spiritual, there is no limit to their dimensions. Lord Chaitanya informed Sanatana Goswami that the length and breadth of every Vaikuntha planet is thousands of billions of miles. In other words, no one can measure any Vaikuntha planet's actual extent. Each of these planets is unlimitedly expanded, and in each of them, the residents are full in all six opulences: wealth, strength, knowledge, beauty, fame, and renunciation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is present in every Vaikuntha planet. Indeed, in each Vaikuntha planet, an expansion of Krishna has his eternal abode, and Krishna himself has his original eternal abode, called Krishna Loka or Go Loka Vrindavan.
So again, Lord Chaitanya is explaining to Sanatana Goswami about the Vaikuntha planets. So in the material world, the planet, we say, okay, the earth is how many miles in diameter, all that, we can measure it. But spiritual world, the Vaikuntha planets, because spiritual means unlimited, there's no limit. So these Vaikuntha planets also, we cannot measure their dimension. It can't be measured because it's on the spiritual platform. They're unlimited. And everyone living on that planet has all the opulences like Krishna has. Full in six opulences. Krishna is not saying, okay, I will keep all the opulences also for me. That's how we have those Salokya, Sarupya, all those kind of liberation, right? You look like the Lord, you live on the same planet as the Lord. Here, he's saying, you want to be as wealthy as me, take. You want to be as strong as me, take it. Knowledge, beauty, fame, renunciation, everything. And he himself, of course, is in each one of the Vaikuntha planets in his expansions. and he himself in Golok Vrindavan. So it's all unlimited. It's so inconceivable. So inconceivable. That's the nature of the spiritual world.
In this universe, even the largest planet lies in one corner of outer space. For example, although the sun is a million times larger than the Earth, it still lies in one corner of outer space. Similarly, each of the Vaikuntha planets, although unlimited in length and breadth, lies in a corner of a spiritual sky, known as the Brahma Jyoti. In the Brahma Samhita, the Brahma Jyoti is described as Nishkama, Anantam, Ashesha, Bhutam, or undivided and unlimited and without a trace of material modes of nature. All the Vaikuntha planets are like petals of lotus flower, and the principal part of that lotus, the center of all the Vakunthas, is called Krishna Loka or Goloka Vrindavan.
So how Prabhupada is explaining to us, Lord Chaitanya is explaining, that sun is even much greater than the earth, right? Yet it's there in the material sky. It's in one part of the material sky. So the spiritual planets, Vaikuntha planets, although they are so huge, but they are still in one part of the spiritual sky. The spiritual sky is also unlimited, ever expanding. And these Vaikuntha planets is in one part of the spiritual sky. And the evidence is given in Brahma Samhita that the Brahma Jyoti is undivided, unlimited, and there is no material modes of nature there. There is no goodness, passion, ignorance over there. So how are the planets described? Vaikuntha planets are what shape?
Petal of lotus flower.
Yeah,
Petal of lotus flower.
yeah. And the center of the lotus is?
Vakunthas. All the Vakunthas is called Krishna Loka.
Yeah, center is Krishna Lok or Golok Vrindavan. That's where Krishna personally stays. So all the Vaikuntha planets are like petals of a lotus flower. Sounds beautiful. Huh? We'll stop here for today. Any questions or comments?
We can just imagine like how explain about the universe. So many universes, planets are here, right? And everywhere Krishna is available there. So it is really, very much like we cannot understand. It is really a unlimited knowledge or
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.